Hello, all you bladers. Today we have the driver battle of Atomic versus Absorb. If you don't want to watch the entire video, timestamps are in the description. Atomic and Absorb are very similar drivers. Absorb has Absorb Break, it is free spinning and has stamina. Obviously, Atomic has Super Tempest Attack, it is also free spinning with a ball. We're going to be testing their stamina, their defense, attack, LAD or life after death, their burst resistance, and the layer we're going to be using to do all this testing is Mirage Fafnir 2S. With that being said, there are timestamps in the description for individual testings, and let's battle. First, we're going to do a stamina test, and the opponent is going to be Lord Spriggan left, wheel, extend plus, stamina mode. We're going to do it in Atomic first. Okay, they're in the center, not hitting too hard. And we're gonna see, pretty hard hit to Spryzen from Fafnir, but thanks to the Hyper Shield Crash sort of gimmick, Fafnir actually did Hyper Shield Crash from, it kind of bounced back from there. Let's just remove this. And Fafnir. So Fafnir takes the first point by destabilizing and knocking back its opponent. Spriggan, Fafnir. Keep in mind, I am launching Spriggan first. Spriggan is a lot lighter and the Extend Plus is worn down, so if this Extend Plus were not worn down, then it would be doing a lot better. And just like that, Fafnir has knocked Spriggan quite a bit back. Oh, but Spriggan is coming. Oh, no, not enough. It almost took the center, but it was just spinning too slow for it to take the center. So Fafnir takes it. Again, we're going to do just one more round. Spriggan. Fafnir. We're going to move that. Alright. So let's see. Yeah, every time they're like barely spinning they're spinning pretty solidly, but then Fafnir just knocks Spriggan back from the center. That's pretty much how Fafnir wins every time. So compared to Spriggan, Fafnir did pretty well. I mean, I felt like they were pretty even, but Fafnir won just because it was able to take the center more. But remember, we're not comparing it to how well its stamina is individually. We're comparing Atomic and Absorb. So let's see how well Absorb does. Spriggan. I'm really trying not to do Absorb Break, but it's hard. Okay, so this time it did not do Absorb Break. Okay, let's see. Now, Absorb isn't a round driver like Atomic. It's not ball-shaped anymore. It's sharp-shaped, sharp-tipped. So, Spriggan, but this was a lot more close. Because even though Absorb didn't take the center, it was still a pretty close match. Let's do a second round. Okay. So Fafnir hit Spryzen pretty hard with its Absorb Break, but it just lost a ton of stamina and outs. Now, if we could do something about it not doing Absorb Break to test out how much stamina it really has, I would, but there's really no way. Lord Spriggan. Yeah. Lord Spriggan. So, to recap the stamina part of, so the opponent that they both went up against was obviously Lord Spriggan Wheel Extend Plus. we used Mirage Fafnir 2S as the layer for the two drivers. They're both left spin. And then Atomic and Absorb. So Atomic, it hit pretty hard in the beginning. It moved around quite a bit. And it mainly won against Extend Plus because of its stamina, how well it took the center, and because of its ball-shaped tip, which are all good things for stamina. Now Absorb, don't get me wrong, it does Absorb Break every single time. Every single time. Now that could be good, but it also could be bad, because this is supposed to be a stamina driver. You're supposed to be able to control when it does Absorb Break, or when it doesn't do Absorb Break, but every time, even if you launch it super tilt, super flat, super sideways, even if you launch it super light, it does Absorb Break. And there's really nothing you can do about that. So because it just wastes its stamina around, it really doesn't have anything when it takes the center. Now, if it hits the walls and recoils and hits the opponent, that's when it might have a chance. The chance that it'll even do that, even if there is walls, is very low, which is why Atomic is the clear choice for stamina, at least same spin. Let's go on and test its attack power now. The defense side of this testing, the opponent is going to be another left spin, because same spin, obviously. Dread Spriggan, 10 weight with Sting, Zeta Dash in defense mode. Yeah. And obviously Atomic first, as usual. Oh. Pretty good counterattack by Dread Spriggan. Fafnir is really not pushing it that far, but it might be able to win just by destabilizing. Obviously, it doesn't matter if you win or not, because this is... Okay. Alright. So, as far as attack goes with Atomic so far from these two rounds, it hits pretty hard. It's not like super fast, like Evolution or Ultimate Reboot or anything, but basically it moves around quite a bit for a stamina defensive driver. It has pretty good stamina, and it hits pretty hard. I'm gonna try that again. Actually, we'll see how this plays out. Yeah, so it gained a lot of speed. It hits pretty hard now. Alright, so Atomic isn't exactly super... It doesn't exactly do Absorb Break when you want it to. They're pretty much opposites. I mean, Absorb, it has good stamina. Barely good stamina for a very super fast driver. And it does Absorb Break always. Atomic, you know, it stays stable. It's pretty good very good for stamina, but it doesn't really do Super Tempest attack when you want it to. Its attack power is nothing to laugh at, though, because it hits very hard. Now, let's try Absorb, which I'm definitely expecting Absorb to be better for at attacking. Oh, man, it missed every single attack. So, Absorb pretty much missed every single attack in this round. It pretty much just lost all its spin speed by bouncing off the walls, but we're gonna try that again. Let's just see how this one round plays out. It might still win. Yeah, it still wins. It still has enough LAD. Even if it did bounce around the walls, it could still beat defense type. So this is the one time Absorb didn't do Absorb Break. Yeah, it hits pretty hard. I feel like it's the spring. Oh, there it is, there it is, there it is. Yeah, there's Absorb on its stable side. Yeah, okay, okay. I'm liking Absorb right now. Absorb is one of my least favorite drivers. I mean, I like the gimmick in the anime, don't get me wrong. In real life, I hate it. I pretty much hate it, but when it does stable, like when it acts stable, that's when I really like Absorb. We're gonna try just another round with a defense type and try and do Absorb Break to hit it. Okay, so you can't, it hits pretty hard even when it's not doing Absorb Break, and by the sound of when it hits those walls, you can definitely tell. So, based on pure attack power, I have to say Atomic hits very hard for a stamina defense driver, but I'm gonna have to give this one to Absorb. So the attack opponent will be Zwei, Longinus, Retsu, Sting, Evolution, Dash. Atomic first, as usual, and obviously same layer, Mirage Fafnir 2S. Actually, this time we're gonna flip Mirage Fafnir 2S into its counter mode and see what happens with its defense potential. Fafnir. So, Longinus is knocking Fafnir back pretty hard for the first couple hits, but Fafnir held on pretty well. It held on pretty well, it gripped the stadium. The attacks did a lot of effect on it, but it was able to defend and get the spin finish for this round. Mirage Fafnir 2S. Okay. Yeah, that's proof that Fafnir isn't invincible. Okay. Oh, look at that, it was riding the rails. It was riding the rails. So that was definitely super cool. And Fafnir is still spinning super fast. So as far as defense goes, Zwei Longinus, if it hits it super hard, I mean, we did get to see a one-hit knockout. But every single other time, I mean, even with giant hits like this, Mirage Fafnir 2S Atomic, this is a pretty good combination. And Atomic is a very good defense driver. Now let's see how well it does compared to Absorb, which... let's be honest, Atomic is gonna destroy Absorb as far as defense goes. Okay. So Longinus actually won that. Okay, so that was a one-hit knockout, and we did see a one-hit knockout with Atomic, so for now, it's pretty much a tie. Let's try again. Okay, let's see now what happens. Okay. Yeah, every hit that Longinus does to Absorb, it just... I mean, Absorb won, but that's only because it did Absorb Break in the beginning and dodged Longinus's attacks. Even after Longinus was in the center and it was spinning, it still was able to hit Fafnir pretty hard, and even though it wasn't completely, like, spinning at full speed, you can definitely tell just by, like, any other battles with Absorb, the Atomic is definitely way better for defense. So... so far, Atomic, clearly better for stamina. For attack, Absorb is better just because it always does Absorb Break, but Atomic hits pretty hard as well. And it does do Super Tempest attack if you get a perfect launch. And then obviously for defense, it's Atomic, just all the way Atomic. Absorb pretty much has no defense, but it has some form of downward force. So overall, Atomic is pretty much a better driver, but when you're facing like specific opponents, Absorb might be better. Let's test out the LAD, or Life After Death now. So for the LAD test, we're gonna use the exact same layer and the exact same disc because that way it's even. We're just telling the drivers. So this is a 0 with a left spin Lord Spriggan, and then this is 0 with right spin Lord Spriggan. Pretty much the exact same layer and disc. This will just tell us the difference in LAD between the drivers, and let's just light launch each of them.
We're gonna launch this. Okay, just gonna do that. Just slow it down. Let's see who has more lag. This is the one with Atomic, so I'm gonna keep my finger poised on the one with
Atomic. Looks like Absorb took that one.
That's the one with Atomic.
Okay. That was a tie. We're gonna try again.
Just gonna slow them down. This is the one with Atomic. Atomic is right there. Atomic is right there.
There, that one. Absorb. So, best out of 3, Absorb. We had one draw, and then the other 2 absorbed clearly. Okay, so to test the burst resistance of these 2 drivers, you need to do the spring. So, these drivers obviously have different springs. Now, how you do this is, see these little tabs here? When you push it down, the spring goes down. When you push this down, the spring goes down. So, put these 2 springs together and push on each other. Now, if Atomic pushes, I'm pushing Atomic. Or if Absorb, I'm pushing Absorb, it doesn't matter. Just push one of the drivers or both of them together. Whichever spring lowers the most is the weakest spring. So, looking at it, you can see that Atomic is lowering all the way, and Absorb is lowering just a tiny bit, which means that Absorb has the tighter spring, and Absorb has more burst resistance. So, recap, burst resistance, clearly Absorb. Lad, clearly Absorb. Attack, Atomic hits pretty hard, but Absorb does Absorb Break, and nothing can really beat Absorb Break that Atomic has. And then Stamina, clearly Atomic. Defense, clearly Atomic. So, Atomic has better defense and Stamina. Absorb has better Lad, burst resistance, and attack. But even though it does have more Lad, burst resistance, and attack power, Atomic still hits very hard. I feel like Atomic would be better for most situations, but if you're like facing a specific opponent, then Absorb might be a better choice. Absorb is not by any means a bad driver, it's just kind of uncontrollable, which is why I don't like it. I only like controllable drivers. So that's gonna wrap it up for this video. If you have any other requests, which I do have all of this YouTube channel series in the description. If you have any other driver battle requests or anything like that, tell me in the comments below, and until then, thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment, hit that like button, share the video, and until then, have fun and keep on blading.